Welcome, welcome. So today we're going to be talking all about how to avoid attachment before you actually align. Okay, how do you recognize when you're starting to attach too early, maybe to the wrong person? Of course, we've all experienced that where we meet somebody and we build a really fast spark, right? A really fast connection, and we feel all kinds of butterflies and all the feelings, all the love, and then we want do that. And then we try to tell ourselves that, hey, next time I'm going to set some boundaries. It's not going to happen. But the more that we resist that chemistry, the stronger it comes. And so this leads us to attach way too early and sometimes to the wrong people. That, of course, we've all experienced heartbreak. We've all had that conversation with ourselves where we tell ourselves, never again, but it always happens. It always happens.
Ding, ding, ding.
Yes, so today we're going to talk about alignment before attachment. So if you have ever found yourself in those shoes, this conversation is absolutely for you. I would like to ask you, Mario, what does, I think foundationally, what does alignment actually mean? Because I think a lot of people have a misconception as to what alignment is, right? We've all created that checklist. We've all tried to check off the boxes, and we go into a relationship believing that that checklist ultimately is alignment, but is it really?
Yeah, that's actually a wonderful question, and I think it's a foundational question that everyone should be asking themselves. And just to put it in the most simplest way, alignment is just when multiple parts of yourself are all working or progressing towards the same outcome. Right. So if I'm going into like an auto shop and I need to get my something with my car aligned, it's not specifically that I'm just aligning this one part. I'm aligning that part so that way it works with the rest of the car. And that's how I know it's in alignment because the whole car is now functioning in a specific way. So when it comes to being in alignment with yourself, we are multi-dimensional beings, right? And multi-dimensional being just means that I have a dimension that's an emotional dimension, physical dimension, a mental dimension, social, financial. We are multidimensional beings in all these tiers, right? And so an alignment would be whatever tier it is, getting that tier to have the same, progress towards the same outcome that all the other tiers are going towards. So this could look like, say in my case, where I'm specifically a self-love and relationship coach. For me, alignment is matching all of those dimensions to that goal of self-love or relationship. So if it's finance, right, it's aligning the finance for the relationship or for self-love. If it's my with the specific goals of relationship. If it's my feelings, my heart, it's aligning that with the relationship. And so just alignment is just that finding what isn't aligned with the specific goal or outcome that you desire, and then doing what's specifically needed to put it back in place with that alignment.
So how does that fit within the context of the other person? Well, and the first thing that I want to obviously address is that there's not a single person in this world that's going to be able to align in all of those areas where this person perfectly aligns with me mentally, spiritually, physically, present wise, and future wise, and past wise, right? Like there's all of these different areas of where we look for alignment, and it makes it almost impossible, right? This is where we then start to think about, okay, well, what's the sacrifice that I have to make? Am I willing to sacrifice this part of myself for that person to meet this part of myself? So from what it sounds like, what you're saying is that alignment is 100% you aligning everything to your goals, your highest self.
It's that word that you just said, aligning. G is action, right? If you just focus on the process of just becoming better at aligning itself. So you can have a specific goal, let's say it's this relationship or this career, whatever it is. Okay, cool. That's alignment. That's when everything's already completed, already put together. But it wouldn't be a goal if it was already here, it's already done. So it's somewhere else. And you're looking at like, okay, that version of me that's in that relationship, that is full alignment. And then they need another person that's in full alignment in order for you to have that relationship. But what's more important than the goal itself is the process or the journey of going to that goal. It's less about the goal and who am I that I need to be in order to achieve that goal. And so um you spend each day practicing the process of alignment. So it's more about aligning than it is the actual alignment. And the more you practice it, the more you master it, the better you get at it, the less of an issue you have when something's not in alignment. Because you just know, oh, it's not that I'm not in alignment. It's just there's more process to go through. And then let's think about even when you get to alignment and everything is perfect and you got the exact amount of money, the exact relationship, and everything's there. Okay, that's it. Life's over. You're gonna want something else. The goal's gonna shift. The alignment's gonna shift. So I love giving the analogy of travel because I love traveling. All right. The alignment or the goal is I want to go to Japan, right? And I'm nowhere near Japan. But if I'm in Japan, I'm gonna be happy because oh, the delicious food and the beautiful gardens and the beautiful people and the skies. But there's so much to do. That's me in alignment. I want to live that experience, right? So then I'm like, okay, who or where is required from me to get me to that place? So then I stopped focusing solely on just Japan and I switched from what is it that I need to do to align myself with being in Japan? Oh, I need to go buy tickets. Okay, da 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 da. I need to pack my bags. Okay, da da da. That's all aligning with the traveling version of myself that's going to be in Japan. And then when I'm in Japan, what do? I'm like, I want to try this restaurant, this dessert place, and I want to go to this garden. I want to go to this museum. I want to go to Universal Studios. And so these are all different alignments. So what I do, I'm like, okay, I got to get this bus at this time. And this is all alignment. So alignment and aligning is just the process of what we call creation. All right. I'm creating a version of myself, a destination, and I call this a relationship. And I'm like, okay, when I have that relationship, it's going to be amazing. I just want to experience it. So, what do I need to align within myself to get myself to there? And it's just about that process, repeating that over and over. Do that in a relationship, do that in business, do that in travel, do that with your physical body goals. That's the beautiful thing about us is that you get to designate where alignment is to the point, choose it. But then you also get to be in charge or in control of the process to get there. Maybe I don't want to go by plane. Maybe I want to go by boat. Maybe I want to go by car. Maybe I want to go by truck. But maybe I want to walk, right? You get all of that. And so the more you focus on getting better at that, it just doesn't become an issue about not getting alignment, not getting that relationship. It's just like, oh, perfect. This relationship didn't line up because I noticed this about myself wasn't in alignment with who I wanted to be. So then I start matching that up. This person starts to disappear. And then I get a new type of person come in. and they're more in line with who I am as of right now. And it just keeps going that way until you're into whatever alignment is with that specific relationship. Then you might get that person's like, okay, now I want a house. Now I want kids. Now I want this. And then each time you have to shape shift, change something, right?
So it sounds like what you're saying is that it's less about alignment. So going from the thing that's already created and moving into aligning. So, for example, what I'm hearing is a lot of people, and including myself, I've been there many times, where I felt like I had to first find out who I am. So I established an identity, which is really all ego. And I have a set of values, I have a set of qualities, I have a set of standards, boundaries, right? I create this identity. And then to me, it becomes very tangible. Like, this is the thing that whoever comes into my life needs to be in perfect alignment with who I am. And obviously, there's a lot of issues with that because you're not really creating space for more, right? You're not creating space to grow. You're not creating space to be influenced by the person, because I truly believe now that the goal of relationships is to grow. And if I'm already so set in who I am, I'm not leaving any room for growth, for change, for evolution. So, and that's why a lot of people that have that belief that this person is going to come in and they're going to align perfectly with who I am, they have a hard time finding a relationship. So what I'm hearing you say is that it's moving away from that and it's using alignment as a tool. So, hey, what is it that I want? Right? Starting out with a goal. Maybe it's something that I don't have right now. And I really believe that the more secure that we are in ourselves and who we really are underneath the ego, underneath the identities and the values and all of those things, the more, and we were just having this conversation the other day, the more we can play, right? The more whatever comes into my life no longer becomes a threat because I know who I am deep down at my core. That I can start to open up the possibilities of, okay, what is it that I want? Do I want to be with somebody who travels a lot, maybe because I don't travel much right now and I want to be able to experience that version of myself. And so now when I have that goal, I can then start to align myself. So it's less about aligning the other person, but now I get to align myself with getting to that goal, right? Who do I need to become in order to attract that certain type of person that has those qualities, right? That has those values, that has those boundaries. So moving into the noun, or not the noun, but the verb of aligning, opens up room for growth. That I can become something more. And so, what is that kind of what you're saying?
Out of what you just said, I think that you gave like a lot of wisdom there. But something that really did stand out to me was the fact that I know myself on a deep level. That is one thing. And most people know themselves, which is the mental dimension. That's the knowing dimension. And most people are really good at that understanding or knowing or being aware of themselves. But just because you know yourself on a deep level doesn't mean you're allowing yourself to exist on a deep level. Those are two different tiers. The mind and the heart are just, they're two different dimensions. So you might know yourself mentally on a deep level, right? But to allow yourself to be expressed in a vulnerable way, in an honest way, in front of another person, in front of the world, that's a completely different thing. And so most people, when they're in a relationship, right, they got the checklist here. I want this, this, and this. And they're like, they might be thinking they're acting in such a way. And it could be like this. I want a partner who's gonna love me for all parts of myself, unconditioned, and commit to me unconditioned. And then if there's parts of yourself that you like, I don't like, I don't accept, I'm going to avoid, or I'm going to try and do everything I can to not be this version of myself, which is like a feeling, right? Then you're going to show up in a way the person's going to show up also. So then now there's going to be judgment both ways. And you might be looking at them being like, I accept you. And I love you unconditionally. And I'm going to show up for you. And all the ways that I'm going to commit to you. Right? But you're not doing that for yourself. So there's just a lot of pressure on the other person to show up and do that for you when they have all their own thoughts and feelings and emotions going on. They have to handle that and handle yours. That's a bit intense. But if I'm like, hey, look, I got myself. Like, don't worry about it. And like, I might be feeling some emotions right now, but like, I'm gonna take care of this. I just need you to take care of you. This. It just takes so much pressure off the other person to perform for you, to be that. And now you get to love the other person actually yourself. And so then I show up as my authentic self now. Like, hey, this is what I look, this is my hungry face. This is my sad face. This is my angry face. These are all my faces. And I accept all of those. And accepting and allowing are two different things because people mentally accept themselves. They say, oh, I love myself. And they will fight anyone and everyone to prove that they love themselves and accept themselves. But they don't allow themselves. So that's not love, right? That's not actual acceptance. Because you're saying there's these negative aspects about myself that I don't like and I need to change and I need to something. I need to get rid of them or whatever. Love would be like looking at every single one of those feelings, thoughts, and emotions, and being like, oh, this sad part, this negative part, this angry part, this happy part, this depressed part, this excited part, this anxious part. I love all of this. I'm going to support you the way you need to be. And I'm going to support you the way you need to be. I'm not going to support you the way the other person needs to be. But then I show up for myself the way I need to be shown up for. Emotion is, right? Because like I said, you might know yourself mentally on a deep level. So your identity is strong, but your presence is weak. So when an emotion comes up, you're like, I need to fix it right now. I need to heal it right now. I need to change it right now. Instead of being like, you know what, I'm going to be with it. And then in that process, you now align. So when we communicate right now, we're using the mind, words, right? So we might logically be on the same plane, but it doesn't mean physically or emotionally we are. And that's why you feel like disconnected because now we're trying to out logic emotion. When you might not want logic, you might need someone to sit with you, be present with that specific emotion you have. And it's like, okay, instead of fixing it, just give some space for it first. That's settled, or it's been seen, or it's been present, or whatever. It's like, okay, now. So this doesn't say stop. Right? In the mind, we're like, oh, here's a solution. Da 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 da. And the heart says, okay, yeah. Or if it's in the context of a relationship, right? You go, okay, I have a specific feeling. And I want to tell you this feeling, but I'm afraid that if I tell you how I honestly feel, then you're going to look at me in a negative light. You're going to judge me to be looked at as a bad person, or maybe you're gonna run away from me. You're gonna leave me something, and then I'm left alone with emotion that I don't want. But if you're being present with emotion, then whether someone comes in or goes, it doesn't matter. If it's fine, I got it. Okay, I'm fine. This is good. I was there. And then in a relationship, that context, it's like the mind's job is to communicate the heart. The heart doesn't have physical vibration language. So the heart's like, I'm feeling some type of way. Let this person know that I got butterflies, that my heart's like, let them know that I'm feeling this. And if you're like, oh, if I tell them that, then there's something wrong with me. And the heart's like, I just want to be, even if they're going to judge me, even if they're going to leave me, I just want to be me. And so when you do that, you're aligning with that version like, hey, look, I'm so nervous. I just met you, but you are so cute. I'm just gonna be honest here. Like, this is just how I feel. Feel is on you and everything, but I want to be able to express my feelings for myself right now. How you respond is on you. And that's being in alignment with myself. And when I do that, I give another person permission to then be authentically themselves in front of me. And now you're in a relationship where both people are being intimate and they're deep mentally and emotionally. And then beyond that,
Two people that maybe don't necessarily want or they don't see the same thing can still be in alignment because they can meet in the space of safety. If I feel safe enough to be myself in front of you, and you feel safe enough to be yourself in front of me, even though maybe we don't want the same things, we don't have the same vision of the future, kids, whatever. If I can feel safe with you and you can feel safe with me, and we're able to safely express our true authentic selves to each other without fear of judgment, without fear of losing the other person, we can then meet in that place of safety and align there, which I've personally seen happen. And so, yeah.
it's much, you're gonna get much more results by working in the present moment than in the future. Because I could say I want something, you could say you want something, but if our actions currently are not in line with that want, right, then we're just going to be like, you need to give me that want because I don't have it, and I don't have it now because you're not giving it to me. And then so then if the person leaves, that means you'll never get what you want ever. Like that's so ridiculous, right? I look at it like, if I want something, I'm going to be the source of it. And if people are also in line with that something, we'll help each other. I'll help you get to there and you help me get to there currently, right? That's all right. You want that and I want that. Get you towards that at least, right? While I'm on my way there. And you do the same thing. So in the beginning, you said, okay, when you focus on growth, okay, then any amount of progress that you made in a relationship has gotten you that much closer to alignment. And therefore, there aren't any failed relationships. Every relationship was this successful, this successful, this successful. And it all in a way, it's just like, imagine you literally hitchhiking towards what you want. You're on the road, and someone stops and they pick you up. It's like, well, I'm not going to go that far, but I'll take you this far. And it's like, okay, well, it's better than walking. I'll get there that much quicker. And so then you go in a relationship. The relationship takes you that far. But then now you're in the car with them for an hour, and you're like, why can't you just drive me the rest of the way? And they're like, I don't want to go all that way. It's just not what I just not want. Maybe I changed my want halfway through. Anything like that. And so it's just said it like, hey, you know what? Thank you for taking this far. I appreciate that. I'm now this much closer to what it is that I want. And now it's the journey of getting there. It's the moment that you get there and you realize the journey that took you there. It's like, wow, that distance, those sacrifices, that made that much more valuable.
Yeah. And I really, it's very easy. Like these metaphors make so much sense when they're in any other context but relationships. Right? It's like, oh yeah, of course. You hop in the taxi cab and it takes you this far, and then we've all done that. But when it comes to relationships, when our feelings, our identities, our biggest vulnerabilities, who we are, is on the line. And this is why I think relationships are the biggest pathway to spiritual growth, to personal growth, because they expose us completely. It's hard, right? But I do want to talk about the idea of alignment before attachment, because what it sounds like is alignment is 100% self-fulfilling. It's not about me aligning you to me making you see the world the way that I see the world, or match my values, or match my habits, or changing you. It's about me aligning with myself, aligning every part of me that I've been suppressing with myself so I can be whole. Um, then why do we attach?
No, hearing that, I'm already like, huh? I'm exhausted. I don't even want to do all that, and I'm here as a self-love relationship coach, and I'm like, I don't. The goal of being whole is already too exhausting. It's too much. It's too far away from who I am right now. So the goal is not the end goal. The goal is just I just need to get a step closer. I just want to get better at taking one more step. And if I keep getting better at one more step, eventually the process or the journey is not an issue. And so then it's just a universal timing thing now. That's it. Now I know no matter what I'm gonna get it. It's just a matter of pacing myself. Right? So the whole like, oh, I need to be in alignment with my thoughts, my emotions, and my money, and I need to make sure that my body is perfect, and I gotta be the perfect cook, and like I already gotta have my house, and I already gotta have all no mental baggage, no emotional baggage, no trauma, no nothing. It's like
It's many lifetimes from now. You'll be single.
Jesus, man, everyone would be single, with no kids. No one just everyone's just too much work to do.
Yeah.
It's not about getting to the end goal. It's just not being where you were before, stuck, feeling miserable, feeling left out, feeling it's just about not being there and being a step, getting movement, a step in the right direction, a step closer towards, because that's better than where you were before. Because if where you were before was perfect, then you wouldn't want alignment, you wouldn't have any goals. And then so you don't need alignment. You don't need any of that stuff. Just like, no, I like it. I'm settled down right here. Then that's it.
Yeah. So, from a spiritual relationship perspective, understanding that there are no such thing as bad relationships, right? Number one, because every relationship got you closer to what you want. And I love the saying,
Say that again.
from a spiritual relationship perspective,
Uh-huh.
there are no such thing as bad relationships, because every
Take
relationship,
that. Pause on that. Say it one more time.
there are no such thing as bad relationships.
One person's gonna be like, oh, yeah, I love it. Another person's like, what do you mean? I went through this and that, and okay, like, but listen to this. These have been around for hundreds of thousands of years. You've probably been around for 20, 30, 40, 50, maybe 60 years, maybe 80, maybe 100. What you've done in a fraction, you're expecting. Humans have not figured out how to perfect loving relationships in 100,000 years. So that means billions of people have tried to do what you're trying to do in 20, 30, 40 years over the span of 100,000 years. Like you've got this significant goal that is so far away that's
Unattainable.
it's unattainable. As a society, what you're trying to do in 30, 40, 50 years, society has been doing billions of people for hundreds of thousands of years, and you think that you specifically can outwork billions of people for hundreds of thousands of years in 20, 30, 40 years. It's wild. I mean,
That takes a lot of pressure off. Honestly, just hearing that, like, I don't have to have all the answers. I don't have to have it all figured out. It's very relieving.
it's like, okay, humans have been around for hundreds of thousands of years. Billions of people have been trying to do this. What have they learned? Self-love, little bits of this, and they're still learning all those things. But like, okay, what can I learn from them, and how can I just be a step bit better? Kids, right? Do you want them to live in a better world?
Absolutely.
All right. So all you have to do is look at your life and make it a fraction of a percent better, and you success. That's great. Leave the world just a tiny bit better, right? And leave some work for the rest of the world to do. And then that's all. That's it. And then when you love yourself a little bit more, you teach that to your kids, they're going to love themselves a little bit more. And then they're going to love themselves a little bit more than that to teach it to their kids. And over time, it's is going to be able to sit, to be able to be, to not have to do, to heal, to figure something out. They're going to be able to sit inside a loving relationship. The sacrifices, all in this together. It's just like that. So in the spirit of this conversation, attachments, alignments, give yourself a little bit of grace.
So, where do you think? Well, one thing that I did want to say, and this quote stands out to me. I don't know if it's a quote or it's kind of an interpretation of a quote, but it was something like we're all driving each other home, or we're all walking each other home. So, every single relationship that you've been through, no matter how painful, how, abusive, toxic, whatever it is, has been a part of walking you home. And I love that metaphor that you said with you might take 100 different taxi cabs to get from California to New York because New York is home for you. And each one of those gets you a bit closer and closer. And so, yeah, let's talk about attachment. Why would I, driving from California to New York, hop into a taxi cab and the taxi cab goes, I'm going to stop here. And I'm like, no, I will not. I'm gonna go to Texas with you, which is completely different direction that I want to go. But like, where does that attachment come from?
Yeah, because you have the ability to change alignment, right? You have the ability to change goals, right? You made this specific goal from this version of yourself. You made the goal that I want a loving relationship from the version of yourself that doesn't have a loving relationship. All right. And so that loving relationship is skewed, right, based on the lack of love in your current relationship or life. And so then what you do is you look at all the things that are going wrong, and then you're like, I'm going to take the complete opposite of that. So I want the extreme rights of that in a relationship. And then you hold them on that pedestal. And then each person comes like, you're not that, you're not that, you're not that. But you're like, think about it like this. The goal of that, I want this specific perfect dream relationship because that's not what I have now. It's only to give you a direction so you can go from here to somewhere else that's not here. Right? Because if you don't have a destination, um, you have nowhere to go and you're going to be stuck. So the whole point of that is just to get you moving. And then as you start moving, you're going to start learning and start growing and say, oh, actually, I kind of want this. thought that I want someone to be uh, obsessed with me. And now that I have someone obsessed with me, it's like I have no time for myself. I'm not allowed to talk to anyone else. Everything has to be devoted to them. So now I don't even feel like I have my own life anymore. But when you're like someone in the beginning of your first relationship, and they just rejected you, they rejected you, it's like, oh, well then what's the complete opposite of rejection? Obsession. And so then I want this love, this perfect obsessed love. And then you might get that and then or get closer to that. It's like, oh my God, like this is a lot. And so that's what happens. You hop in that one taxi, you're like, I'm going to, for me, Japan. You said New York, right?
Good luck trying to get to Japan in the taxi.
I know. Over water somehow. Yeah, so then you're like, okay, I want to go to this place. And as you start going, you're like, wow, what is that place? Like, take me there. And it's like, no, you paid for this. And then, no, I want to go this way. Or like, I want to go to wherever you're from. As we're in the car ride and you're explaining where you're from, I want your goals. These sacrifices. And from what you told me, what you want, it's not the same. Right? And so it's literally that. The attachment is just shifting between alignments. We get attached because it just allows us to hold on to something, right? Attachment is not the enemy. It has purpose. And so being able to shift from attached to detach and do this back and forth, right? If I let's shake hands, right? We're now attached. But now, what if I need to use the bathroom? I better learn how to detach really quick.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean I'm never going to get this again. Okay, great. Okay. And it's just that. Learning how to do that. Learning to be able to hold something with firmness. This is what I want. This is who I am. Firmness. And then I also don't want to know this. I want to know something else. I want to discover something else about myself. I want to feel something else about myself. And then, okay, what is it I want to discover? I want to discover this version of myself. Okay, then you go in that. And then that's that. You are the co-creator with universe. And these are all your tools to create this human experience. Attachment is a human experience. Detachment is a human experience. Alignment is a human experience. What experience do you want to have while you're human? And you use these tools to create that.
Because we look at attachment as something negative. And that was the whole title of this training is how do you align before you attach? Right. So we don't attach to the wrong people, but what I'm hearing you say is allow everything, allow the full experience, but use it wisely, right? If you're when I think about somebody who is a master, right? If you're looking to master love, a master is somebody who most likely has a lot of different tools and they've mastered using each of the tools, right? It's not just somebody who's like really good at doing the thing, right? I'm not just a good artist. I have all of the tools and I have practiced each tool enough to where I know exactly when to use it, how to use it. I need to use this brush in this exact moment, and then I need to use this brush in this exact moment. So looking at yourself as a master of love simply means that you can use all of the things, even the things that you think are negative or positive.
Absolutely.
And so it sounds like what you're saying is that attachment is a tool that allows us uh, to shift direction, to set a new goal for our alignment. And maybe we want to experience that fully, right? We're like, yeah, I have made my mind. I want to go to Texas. So we attach, we hop in the taxi cab.
Mm-hmm.
And there's nothing wrong with that. Really, the only thing that is, I would say, not wrong, not bad, but it's when you feel like you don't have choice. So I think that's kind of the difference where people feel stuck in attachment versus detachment.
Yeah.
If you know that both are tools for you to use freely, and you have the free will, you have alignment within yourself to know that, hey, I can stop using this tool whenever I want, that's great. But if you get trapped in a taxi cab and you no longer have the choice and you don't know how to get out even if you want to, right? That's where it can go sour, right? That's where it can go wrong. So the goal is not to avoid using the tools, is to learn how to not get stuck in one tool over the other, not to identify yourself as the tool because you're the person using the tool, you're not the tool yourself.
Yeah. So I'm sure the majority of people that are watching are already masterful at attachments and could use some practice in alignment, right? So saying alignment before attachment is the understanding that I'm already attached and now I need to align. So I'm already attached. And so if the issue is not being attached because it lets you hold something for some time or whatever. But right now I'm stuck holding this specific identity. I'm already attached to it, which makes me feel I'm not in alignment with what I want. Okay, then I start aligning my finances, my friendships, whatever the dimension is, right? I'm like, okay, how can my heart get me to my goal? How can my mind me to my goal? How can my finances get me to my goal? How can everything get towards that? So then it's like, then my heart's gonna say, well, if you want me to be aligned in a relationship, I need to be able to be expressed. So then I say, okay, that's what you need. Here you go, be expressed. And then my mind's gonna be like, well, I need to be heard. Every single thing is asking all those dimensions what it needs to get me to who it is, my experience that I want. Right? But if I be like, no, heart. I want to get there, but I don't want to get there and be vulnerable. Like, I don't want to be vulnerable. I want to express myself in a way. Well, then you're going to get there without that part of yourself. And that's not alignment. You want to be there, fully there, all of you. And so as you're doing, you're aligning all these things, and then you attach to whatever is going to get you that amount. Detach, align. Okay, well, now I need this. Attach. Detach, align, and it's just that same process where it's like, I'm in a relationship right now and I don't like it because this person's rejecting me and not giving me enough attention. I want someone that's obsessed with me. Then you get that and you're like, oh, that's not healthy either. Now I need a new thing. That's you. You were attached to something, you detach. And you detach because you gave yourself a goal or alignment, right? If you're like, I'm in a relationship that I don't like, experience, you have nowhere to go. And so you stay stuck, right? But then you're like, well, I'm in this relationship and now I know where I'm in a relationship. Now I want an obsessive relationship. Okay, now you got somewhere to move. So now you're detaching from this by uh, aligning with whatever's necessary that that version wants, right? So then, okay, what would this obsessive version be? Then I give it that, and it aligns me.
And you have to really know, you have to be so in tune with yourself to know what you want and not suppress those parts.
No, not even. No, that's too much work already, right? You just need to know enough. The first thing is, I know I don't want this. And the moment I know I don't want this, it gives me some kind of spatial separation from this thing. I know I don't want this. And that's going to create a question, okay, well, what do I want? And then you start answering that question, however it is that you want. Well, rejected. And so what people usually do is go to the opposite of that. I must want to be accepted. So now then I'm like, okay, what would an accepting person do? And then I start acting as that person now in this circumstance or this environment. And as I'm doing that, people are gonna watch that. The world's gonna see that. Be like, oh, look, that's a person that accepts themselves. That's also what I'm looking for. Let's join teams. All right. And it's the same thing with oh, I'm so broke and so poor right now. Man, I want to be rich. Okay, now you got some special whatever. What would a rich person do in my shoes right now? At $10, okay. Now I'm gonna buy a book on investments or laws or whatever they think that person can do in their shoes, and that's how you. So there's something called uh, time collapsing, right? And in physical space, this is how you fold time. So you're folding space, right? To time travel, you need to fold space. Whoever my science geeks are, you can confirm this. Instead of trying to get somewhere faster and faster and faster, I fold the fabric of space, and then there's less space for me to travel. So I go from here to here now instead of from here to here. And so when it comes to goals, so if you have a goal, a relationship or career, what you're doing is you're taking two pinpoints in space, where I am and where I want to be. Right? And the moment that I go, okay, yo, I'm so broke right now and I want to be rich. What would that rich person do if they were me right now? So I take that time, that person, and I fold them in on myself. I bring them into my current moment, my current reality. This is time travel, right? And so, okay, I'm so broke and I want to be rich. What would a rich person do with what I have? It's that person right now with what I have. And then I continuously do that in a moment. At some time, it's like, whoa, where'd all this money come from? Why are people supporting me? Well, I just got my first client. I just got da 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 da. Right? It's that. That is literally so you're attached right now. I'm attached to being a broke person, but I don't want to be. So now I need a goal. I need alignment. I want to be a rich person. Now, if I want to do a shortcut, I'm gonna say, what would that person do? That aligned version of me do? That is alignment attachment. That's how you use those to your advantage. You can get anything and everything you want in.
And I think most of us don't realize that we do get everything that we want in life. It's just oftentimes what we thought we wanted isn't actually the thing that we thought we wanted when it arrives.
If you have something you don't want, at some point in time you didn't have that.
Yeah.
So there must have been something that attracted it towards you, which was some kind of want. And so, yes, we get everything we want. And if we say even if we don't want it, it's actually we wanted it, and now that we have it, we want something else. So then we say we don't want it.
Which is a perfect example of realignment. I'm aligned with this thing, I got it, and then I realized that maybe I want something else, or maybe it's not as amazing as I thought it was going to be, and then I shift focus. The important
Right.
thing
Isn't
is
that what I just said earlier? That
yeah.
you made this relationship, this pedestal of a loving relationship from a version of yourself that has no relationship. So you're using the imagination of someone who doesn't have the experience of love to create love. And so you've built that version of love from a person who doesn't have the experience of love.
It's like asking a broke person to build the dream business, a multi-billion-dollar business, when they have no experience of it.
Right. And so the only thing with that is that one person might look at them and be like, oh, it's that person or whatever. It's not that. The whole point of having that goal is just to get you unstuck, to move somewhere. And now that you have movement, right, you're getting closer to whatever it is that you want. And as you get closer, you now reimagine that new relationship with this now amount of love that you've gotten from this next relationship.
Yeah.
And then that relationship is like, okay, well, I don't want that one. And then you go into another one and you just learn to love a little bit more. And then it changes that goal again. And so, whatever relationships you go through, no matter whatever trials, tribulations, whatever mistakes and failures you make, all of this is just to detail this dream goal you have. And so, it's just get yourself moving. It's not about the achievement. I got to get it, and if I don't get it, that means something about myself. It's no, I'm stuck. I'm stuck where I'm at. I don't want to be here anymore. So I need somewhere else to go. So I conjure up something that is not here. And that's this goal. It just gives me something to move towards. And as I go towards it, I learn a little bit more. And now I want to change that. And now the goal shifts to over here. And it's like, oh, okay. And I go, oh, I learned a little bit more. Actually, it's more over this way. And that's how you guide yourself through life. That's the journey of love,
Mm.
love and relationships.
So, last thing that I want to ask you is the fear that people have as to why they attach or detach, whatever you do, is that there's not going to be something better. And I think ultimately that is people create this version of alignment in their minds, and then they attract a person, that person comes in and maybe they don't fit all the boxes, they don't fully align, um but then they get so attached to that version because there's this fear of, if I realign, like they're afraid to realign because there's a lot of uncertainty, this is unfamiliar territory, and they're going to lose something and nothing better is going to come in. Do you believe that?
Uh, it's not that I believe it. Like, it's a real feeling, right? I've experienced that myself many times where I've gone into one relationship and because it was just better than the one before, I'm afraid that if I let that go, it's not that I just won't find something better. It's just that I'm afraid I might get back what I let. I'm afraid that I might regress and not progress, right? But if you look at it like if you got from that relationship to that relationship, you have the skill set and all the things you need to go from this relationship to the next one. Fear was that, um, and this is just personal experience that I, people are less afraid about not getting someone else and more afraid that they're not going to get to be you. And so maybe they had this one relationship that was bad, and then they got another relationship that was just a little bit better, but at least they got to be a version of themselves that they didn't get to be in that last one. And so they're afraid that I'm going to lose myself if I let this person go and either wait or move on to the next person. I'm afraid to lose that. Even if 90% of this relationship was terrible, this 10% I really loved that part of myself. I, you know, I gave and I gave and I gave. Risky. Think that they're gonna lose themselves. But the truth is you can't lose yourself. You're with you always and forever. I try going into one room into another room and I follow myself. In every room, it doesn't matter where I go, I try to go from one country to another and I follow myself every single time. I cannot outrun myself. You'll never lose yourself no matter what relationship.
You just find
You just find more of
new
yourself.
pieces of yourself.
Yeah.
Some that you like, some that maybe you don't like, some that you've forgotten existed, some that you've shoved under the stairs or under the rug. So the uncomfortableness is not about losing yourself. The uncomfortableness is about finding parts of yourself that maybe you don't like as much. You said this really good metaphor one time.
That was fire. Why you skip past that? It's about finding parts of yourself that you might not like. something good that I like and find something I don't like. And I might not be as happy, but I would rather at least this little bit of happiness than maybe this much more misery. Let something go because they think that they might find something.
Yeah, you said this metaphor one time that was so good. And it was like if you hold your hand and
You like that one?
I liked it. It was so good. And I'm trying to remember exactly how you said it, but it was like if you constrict your hand. So this, let's say this hand is a part of me that I don't like. This hand is ugly, it's dry, cracked skin, and I'm like, oh, I don't like this hand. So I'm gonna try to suppress it. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna try to pretend like I don't have it. And so now I am constricting this hand and I'm using all this force, where now I'm thinking that this hand doesn't exist anymore. It's in my subconscious. But the reality is that there's this hand right here that's still constantly suppressing, restricting. So I'm using all of this energy, all of this force, um, to try to keep this hand, to keep myself from feeling this hand, right? Because the moment I release it, I'm going to feel it. I don't want to feel it. So I'm going to pretend like it's not there. And then eventually, the more force that you put on this hand, the more the circulation starts to cut off, becomes numb, and then I forget that I even have it. But I'm still holding it. I'm still using all of this energy and force, even if I'm not consciously paying attention to it. And then what happens the moment that you say, you know what, I'm going to do some shadow work. I'm going to do some integration work. I want to find parts of myself that maybe I've forgotten were there. I'm going to do subconscious work. And then I'm like, oh, if there's this hand, I forgot it was there. And then what happens? What do you feel?
All the blood starts coming back and it starts tingling.
And then it hurts, and you're like, oh my gosh, why does it hurt so bad? And I thought it was just such a beautiful metaphor for exactly what happens in our subconscious minds, right? We repress parts of ourselves that are painful, that we don't like, and then we forget that they're there because we repress them so hard, but we're using so much energy, so much emotional energy trying to keep them suppressed. And then the moment that we want to get that energy back, right, we dig into the dirt, we find them, it hurts. We have to suffer the consequences of our own actions, and it's going to hurt for a while. But once that blood rushes back into your hand, now it doesn't hurt anymore. Now you have a functional hand. Now you can use this hand for things that
maybe moisturize it a little bit.
Moisturize it, and then I have an extra hand that I can then use. I have an extra tool that I can use that maybe I didn't know that I had before. So I thought it was just such a beautiful metaphor.
That's brilliant.
Yeah. Kudos to you. Yeah.
It is my firm belief that, and this is obviously going to trigger some people. There is no subconscious. There is only conscious, and we use consciousness to neglect, suppress, reject, or numb more consciousness. So in that same analogy where it's like, if I don't like this part of my body, right, and I'm trying to cut it off, right, it eventually just becomes numb. But that doesn't mean it's subconscious. It's still a part of the same hand, that's same body that's holding it together. So the consciousness is the whole body, and I'm using some part of this consciousness over here to hide this or neglect this or reject this part of consciousness that I don't want to experience for some reason, right? Yes, it eventually becomes numb. And all that energy and force has to be continuously put in order for this to stay subconscious. So there is some part of your consciousness that is continuously neglecting, rejecting, or suppressing. It is continuously applying pressure to some part of yourself that you don't want to experience. But the moment that you begin to release that pressure, which you say is like shadow work, I say is presence work, then the life force or your focus, the blood flow begins to come back to that place. And what you're feeling is um, not necessarily just pain, right? It's actually the indifference between the lack of blood flow that's apparent and the amount that's coming in, and that is shocking the system. So it's like, oh, I'm actually bringing love to a place that had very lack of love, and that's causing a sensation to happen, right? And then that's coming up in the form as pain or trauma or triggers or something like that. But the more that you get the tinglies out, you're like, oh, okay, yes, 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 oh, okay. Oh, yes, it's hurt. I'm gonna be here with this feeling. Oh, I'm gonna hear with this feeling. Yes, 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 yes. And eventually it comes back to life. And then you're that's why I was suppressing it because it's so dry and ugly. I'm not afraid of it being dry. Here's some moisturizer. Here's what it needs. Now I have more of myself. Like you said, two functioning hands.
Mm.
I become more of myself by accepting and allowing that part of myself that I neglected to exist, to give life to. Hey, what do you need? What do you need for me to make you feel useful? And it's like, "Oh, some moisturizer would be great." And I say, okay, I'll supply that for you. Here you go. And then say, ah, great. Thank you so much for giving me what I need. I'm going to repay you by becoming useful for you. And now it's like, okay, I have to.
That's so great. It's such a good metaphor. And as we're wrapping up, is there what last wisdom would you give the listeners when it comes to the conversation of alignment before attachment? So let's kind of circle back to that topic. The one key takeaway that they can remember and take forward into their lives.
About my understand this. If alignment is something that you want to go towards, right? If you're in alignment, don't do anything.
Take a
You're in
rest.
alignment. And you're gonna know you're probably not gonna watch this because you're too busy being in alignment. There's nothing else to do besides that. Right? But if you feel like you're not in alignment, that's something that you want to go understand that whatever you're going towards is built on the foundation from where you are right now. And so whoever this version is that you want to be is built on the foundation of who you are right now. And so it's not about destroying or getting rid of this version of yourself right now. It's about just having a direction to go towards because that's just something I want to experience. And so, alignment and attachment are tools that allow me to this reality to another, shift this version of myself to that version of myself. How successful that is version instead of being yourself and then journey. Oh, from my attachment, from and then love yourself.
Love yourself through the process and know one of your favorite quotes is to say that you, whatever version of yourself you are today, You owe everything to that old past version of yourself that had to do the work in order to get you here now. So, whatever your goal is that you're going towards, you owe everything to this version of who you are today because this is the version that's doing the work.
Yes.
To get you there. And so, overall, I think just everything that we covered in the session really boils down to acceptance. Right? Acceptance of who you are, of
And allowance.
Allowance, yes, allowance and acceptance, but allowing the version of yourself who you are today, allowing the idea that you are not stuck in perfect alignment for the rest of your life. You're going to be shifting, you're going to shift focuses. There's no, you can let go of guilt or shame or anything around that because it's all a natural part of your evolution. Allowing attachment, allowing detachment, these are all tools. And the more tools that you can have, the more you can sit back and recognize how much in control you are of your own journey, of which tool you use, when you use it. So it all comes down to self-empowerment.
I would if you would so graciously share this with everyone and yourself. This is something I repeat to myself, so we can repeat it together. You guys can repeat it after me. I love myself
Love myself
in all ways,
in all ways,
for always.
for always.
Your time is so good. Myself in all ways.
I'm gonna get that tattoo. We're gonna see some of you guys getting some tattoos out there, walking around. Well, thank you so much. Thank you for joining us today for this beautiful, intimate conversation. You know, it's not always what you want to hear, right? Because I think a lot of relationship advice that's out there floating around the internet is all about tips and tricks and how to, use manipulation tactics. And there's nothing wrong with that. Again, these are all
How to force and change someone else.
How to force, how to change someone else, how to become unattainable so that they have no choice but to chase you. Like there's so many different things that, again, nothing wrong with that. If that's what you're into, it's a tool, it has its own purpose. And my belief is that whatever relationship I'm creating, this is the relationship that I want to live in. And so I want it to be the purest version of what I want to live in.
Become the person that you want to be loved by.
Become the person that you want to be loved by. Yeah. Yeah. So thank you. Thank you for spending time with us today, and we'll see you next time.
Thank you also.
Thank you. And thank you. Mwah.
Boy, I like